And what other real movie this week than M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, the newest
The
one?
realist movie.
Woo! It's been getting a lot of mixed reviews, but I think both you and I were excited when it was announced, I want to say like right after the strikes. I think this was the first film that went into production, especially in Canada where they were filming. Obviously, he always makes it look like it's Philly. But I think the big thing was the renaissance that people have been saying for the one and only Josh Hartnett. You ask him, he ain't ever left. People just didn't want to cast him in the good stuff. And now, they do want to cast him in the good stuff, and I think someone needs to tell Josh that that's what a renaissance means. So the man is back. He has been in TV shows. He has been in Oscar-winning movies, and now he is in, describe it, Zach, Trap.
Well, Trap. It is, of course, the latest film from M. Night Shyamalan, the God. It is about a father and teen daughter attending the pop concert of an idol when they realize that the concert is the center of a massive sting to try and capture a serial killer named the Butcher. Only thing is that M. Night Shyamalan twist incoming. Josh Hartnett is the Butcher. And, we were talking a little bit before this started that like, M. Night is always known for having some big twists. And I feel like this movie, the big twist is that in the trailer, right? It's not so much about like some secret lurking waiting for you in the third act, but it's kind of more, it tells you pretty much everything up front. And it is this kind of minute to minute thriller with some pretty strong, goofy comedic elements along the way too. I feel like it's a pretty weird mix of like tones and ideas. I feel like a lot of the conversation sort of, at least from what I'm seeing following the release of this movie, is people discussing M. Night as a filmmaker, and specifically as like a writer of dialogue, because I think all of his films, the characters have this sort of surreal way of speaking. They don't communicate like humans. They communicate very melodramatically, very bizarrely. It works to kind of create this feeling of unease and weirdness that benefits a lot of his films. And there's some films where it works more and some where it works better. I gotta say, I think it worked really well for me here. I was pretty tickled by a lot of the dialogue and Josh Hartnett's whole journey as this like dad trying to do the best by his daughter, even though it's sort of leading him down these sociopathic tendencies. I feel like there's some like self-commentary in how M. Night feels about being a dad and the lengths he's going to try and make his daughters happy, putting them in his movies and helping, advertise his other daughter's movie within this one. So I don't know. While there are elements of the thriller that I found less satisfying, I was ultimately really satisfied just on kind of like a silliness level, on like a goofy performance carrying me through this. I had a good time at Trap.
I like the first half a lot.
You like the trap part of Trap?
Dude, the trap part's pretty cool. Like, I'm mixed, especially when it comes to second half and some of the performances. But I thought in casting his daughter to do the performance aspect of it, where she's really just this background character who's doing the setting that is this massive concert. I thought it felt like you were at a concert. I've always had this idea of like filming something at a music festival, and you were able to do that this weekend. So you know the idea of trying to capture the scope of what it's like to be somewhere. I thought he got that down, dude. I had heard the tricks he was doing in terms of having to direct like 3 different things at once: the extras, the background of his daughter, and then at the same time, our 2 leads and Josh Hartnett and his daughter when they're speaking to each other, and like having to have it all mixed, because I think for the most part, every time she's singing up on stage, Salika, his daughter, she's singing lyrics that have to do with the movie. So, he's already dealing with that almost fourth wall breaking essence of the journey that our main character is going on being very separated, having these 2 different lives, while listening to a pop star who's going like, all my fans, put your lights up in the air. We're all together. My daddy issues are your daddy issues. And then you get to learn more about this character and whatever issues he may have as he's developing throughout. It's very goofy in the first half. But I'm a lot, for whatever reason, and I've been trying to scientifically figure out what it is, I'm a lot more forgiving with all the goofiness that happens in the first act than I am in the second. And I think it's because there's not as much of a threat. Like, there's goofy ways that he gets out of it when he's in the arena, but a lot of it made sense to me. Or, okay, maybe it wouldn't have gone that route. He got a little lucky, but what's the worst that could have happened there? Dude, there is stuff in the second act of this movie where it is a miracle by God. I swear,
Right.
there is even an element where it cannot happen unless a cameo appearance in the film allows a character to get from point A to point B. I think we have not been forgiving on a lot of that for not even other directors, because I've seen a lot of people bring up directors and saying, like, well, he's got this kind of style with his dialogue. What about these other directors? One, those other directors that they've mentioned have had flops. So the narrative right there is already a little weird. But I think a lot of other directors that have been mentioned create their own worlds that are outside of Philadelphia, USA. And I think because he makes it feel so modern, there's a difference between the dialogue here and something like The Village. It works excellently in The Village. I think that there are other aspects of his older movies where it feels more like a play, and such a, because of that, it works a lot better. Because he's supposed to be like a real dude, I did not understand why a lot of the characters were talking the way they were talking. It made no sense to me in the context of the movie, but it made me laugh so hard when he looked at his daughter and he said, "Do you want to go down that hole?" There's so many jokes in this movie for no reason whatsoever, and it's one of those that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, where it's like I've been hearing people have such a good time. They're like, forget the flaws, 5 stars. I still got to keep it normal. I had a blast with the movie, but this is still 2.5 stars. Like, I don't know why we lied to each other. We don't even call this nepotism anymore. My man has gone full dad mode, and everyone is here for it. This girl, bless her soul, cannot act for her life the moment it comes to her having to give dialogue. You can't tell me otherwise, Zach.
Yeah, no, I mean, she has this sort of like big-eyed Bambiness thing that I think like serves the part, but she's not exactly like a thespian. You know, I don't know if I would rely on Seleka for like the dramatic climax of my movie.
And there's an element there where I was like, would it have been better? Would it have been more believable if he got an actress who could deliver a lot of those lines, maybe a lot better, especially because that's a lot of the thriller element comes into play towards the second half, where things get a lot closer. Again, everything in the first half and the environment and the way he's able to set up throws, I think works really well. I really like the themes, like you were mentioning, and where he is shooting his daughter up on stage while you're following another dude who's shooting his daughter at this concert because she got straight A's and 1B. But the themes, I feel, is where I'm kind of split on the second half of his career, because I think a lot of people have been harsh with M. Night for, you know, the rise that he had very early on. Then there was all the films like back to back to back where he went full environmental, and I don't know what it was about that in particular, but The Happening did not do well. Avatar, obviously, couldn't even get the name. It's The Last Airbender. And then wrap that up with After Earth before kind of making that resurgence with The Visit, with Split. I love how even in the trailer, he doesn't even mention the bad movies. Like, he doesn't mention his last 2 movies in the trailer. That always gets me. When a director's got a new film and he goes, ignore the last 2 at the box office. Y'all remember Split? I think he ignores Glass also, so he ignored 3. He's very much on the part of his career where I think he's definitely focusing on his daughters. If this is the story of a man who's got his passion, his work of being a serial killer, I like that M. Night saying, you know, filmmaking is kind of just as psychotic, and I'm like this character. Am I balancing both worlds, or am I willing to risk it all to put my daughter as a pretty prominent character who may ruin the second half, at least for a lot of people who I think have seen it and were a little thrown back by the by some of the decisions in there. But look, I still love M. Night. I just did not realize this was the one where a lot of supporters were going to come out.
Yeah,
they weren't there for old.
I know.
They weren't there for the last one.
I don't know. Maybe they all like sharpened their claws during the pandemic or something, but people were really ready to fight for M. Night's legacy.
They're not going to have them by the end of the year. It's one of those. We talked about this. We went through 2014 movies, and I was like, these are the ones midway that they had really high, and then they just disappear. But damn, bro, a lot of people, I didn't realize how much they wanted to defend the man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't
while also dissing him.
Right. Like it's a lot of these backhanded compliments when it comes to M.
his
Night.
dialogue is stupid, but it's stupid on purpose. It's like, what? What if he doesn't think it is? You're like actually
Right.
defending him for something he didn't say.
Yeah. So I know you went 2.5. I think I'm more along the lines of 3.5, and it is largely off of
That's
this
fair.
Josh Hartnett performance. I just think
good.
he is so delightfully goofy, and particularly it's his performance that to me makes elements of the back half work. But it is interesting, right? Because without spoiling too much, like the trailers obviously hint at this idea of this pop concert where the police have surrounded the venue and they're trapped inside, and it makes you think of a movie like Inside Out, or no, excuse me, not Inside Out, Inside Man, the Denzel Washington, Clive Owen bank robbery thriller, right? Where
The
like
way he went through emotions, though, I did think Inside Out, just so you know.
but like an Inside Man, it's a similar thing of like,
I see
how
what you
is
mean,
he
yeah.
going to out clever them while he is, surrounded by all this police presence? And part of the thrill is like seeing all the little clever things they do to get away with it. And then again, without getting too heavy into spoilers, we kind of leave that venue for a lot. And whereas the movie for a while feels like watching a guy wriggle his way out of a corner, suddenly we're no longer in that corner. We're like in the vast open air of the world, and it changes the tone of the movie. And I
Yeah.
kind of feel like it might have felt a little bit more finite or less like the tale is too long had that climax ended at the first location we go to. But we kind of keep going on. The movie sort of keeps finding new places to take its characters, and yeah, I think it's at that point that it does lose a ton of
It
steam.
stretches it.
Yeah, I do really, really love that final shot we get, though.
See, so the final shot, and again, not getting too much into it, we know that this man has kind of combined a couple of his movies together, and it felt like he was prepping to combine this with those.
Right,
There were certain parts where I was just expecting other characters to appear as well.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'll give it to him on the marketing because, like you said, it's a bunch of stuff that is not in the trailer. You get to a
Right.
point in this movie where you're like, oh, I'm not waiting for like a shot that I haven't seen yet. There's one that you do get in the early on trailers, but for the most part, everything in the back half is like you don't know where it's supposed to go. But while it's surprising, again, I think it wears itself thin. You brought out Inside Man. I think
Yeah.
that does a lot more clever things.
Yes,
Here,
it's definitely better.
Here it's so goofy, he laughs with you in the joke so that he can get away with it. And a lot of people are like, for sure. But I can guarantee you, y'all look at another filmmaker, you're not letting that pass. Y'all see another filmmaker put their daughter in there, you guys are going to be honest and say, yeah, this is The Godfather Part 3 all over again. And I say that in the nicest way because that means that his daughters do have a future. I think it's impressive how Salika was able to make 14 songs for the soundtrack.
Right.
I think the lyrics really do inform the themes of the film. Again, I thought it worked very well in the sense that it feels like an actual concert. She felt like a performer. There's a couple of cameos as well that make some stops along the way. One I did not know he was in there, and the other one you do see for a little bit.
And, yeah, if the cameo you're talking about is the cameo I think, it's just, to me, proof of what a comedic genius M. Night Shyamalan is. He is perhaps our foremost namer of hip-hop artists, fictional hip-hop artists in film.
Yeah.
As a supporter of the mid-sized sedan name to this day, that specific character made me laugh out loud so hard.
You talking about the blonde one?
Yes, the blonde one.
Okay, I'll get to the blonde one. I was talking about the one that comes out before. Do you know who
Yeah.
that was? Why?
Yeah.
Why though? That was so random. This is a sting. This is the trap. The whole place. They're trying to get the butcher. Why is he there? The
Got a
second
bigger
one.
crowd. I don't know.
The second one was so dumb. That's why I liked it. It's
It's so dumb.
goofy.
It's so funny though.
Did
and
you know-
he gives an excellent performance in that role.
He was just acting himself. I really do think he was
Yeah.
complaining about the macadamia milk and whatever the hell else he was saying. But did you know that him and what's his name, Josh Hartnett, are like best friends? They met before he blew
Really?
up. I did not know that. I had to go search it up because he said, yeah, I went to his concert. I got to see him. Kid Cudi was like, I'm new here. You're Josh Hartnett, I think, right? Let's be friends.
All right.
He said he co-directed it. I had to go straight to the IMDb. Dude, this man, Josh Hartnett, produced Day and Night.
Yeah. With the vampire movie, was that? Or
No. Kid Cudi's music videos.
Wait, really?
I don't even think it was Day and Night. It was one of his other music videos.
Like Pursuit of Happiness or something?
Dude, it was Pursuit of Happiness. Thank you. You go to his IMDb. He is the producer on
Nuts.
Pursuit of Happiness. He said he even co-directed it. So I look back at certain sequences within that exchange that they have with each other, which is funny just in the movie alone. But to know that it like goes back to the friendship that they have, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Why he would be there for his thing, I have no idea. I don't know why half of the stuff happens in this movie.
No.
But it is still a blast to watch.
Totally.
For those defending it, if you realize that the dialogue is awkward, stop yelling at people for also just realizing the dialogue is awkward. We get it. You're way smarter than them. But it's like you're acknowledging that it's weird. So it's not that weird that people who don't really vibe with this dialogue see it to be off. I've also... I found it very interesting how he's kind of commenting on this idea of what he's supposed to tell you. I think it's this idea of like the movie itself is the trap that he needs to set. He's been really pitching this as the M. Night experience, which I really like. We got the Spike Lee joints, empirical pictures by what's his name, Wes. I like the experience aspect of it, especially because it's a music concert as well. Some people may want that experience at home. I think it is worth watching that first half in the theater, but damn, I would feel bad telling you to go, and then you get the goofiness that is the ending. It stretches it out a little bit for me. But if you can get it as a matinee, I'd say go for a $5 Tuesday if the trailer's interested you. Good color scheme, good marketing.
Yeah, as much as I did enjoy this one, I don't know if it's one that you need to rush out for the theater for unless you know kind of what to expect from that sort of M. Night goofy tone. Like if you're a fan of some of the more recent films. I think if you liked Old, you're going to really like this one.
I'd say it's more fun than Old.
Yeah, it's a little more fun than Old, a little less creepy.
I definitely better than Knock at the Cabin's freaking torture.
Shout out to Amanda who said on Letterboxd, as a thriller it's a 2, but as a comedy it's a 4. Like I kind of feel somewhat similarly. Right. Like it doesn't work that well as a thriller, but it is really entertaining. You said you went 2.5, I went 3.5. So on the Intercut Letterboxd, we'll go ahead with a 3-star. And if you're not following the Intercut Letterboxd, now's a quick shout out. You can find us letterboxd.com/intercutpod. We're logging all our reviews there. So if you want to see what we thought of the movie after you log your own review, give us a follow.
Beautiful. I had a little heart on that. You know what? I'd even give it a heart.
Hey, 3 stars and a heart? I like that.
I said 2.5 and a heart, you know? Right? 2.5? I said I liked half the movie.
Yeah.
I went 2.5. If the second half was better, I'd add some stuff. It was a good time. It was a good time.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, very goofy. Now that we're out of that review, you saw the whole Karsten thing? Bro, I did comment on that stuff. What part did you see? Because it had the best ending. I had my thoughts on that, and then I saw the ending come into play, and I was like, come on, bruh.
Yeah, so Karsten's Letterboxd review where he wrote, "You gotta wonder if M. Night Shyamalan has ever had a conversation with a human being," kind of went viral with a bunch of people just like taking it to mean whatever they wanted it to mean. He didn't even have like a star ranking on the review. It was just that phrase. Yeah. And people, I think, particularly when it comes to the popular Letterboxd accounts, just like really like to project everything they hate about the film Twitter world onto it. What is this ending though? I don't know what you're referring to.
One, they treated it like a Rorschach because, like you said, they were applying what they thought of the movie and not necessarily what Carson was saying of the movie as well, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to see if I could pull up the one that it was.
Because I think a lot of people interpreted it as him saying he didn't like the movie, and then he comes out and says he really liked the movie.
Even more than that, they were assuming why he didn't like it, what bias he had.
Right.
And I thought that was weird because all he did was critique the movie. All he said was, hey, the dialogue's a little weird, which is why I was saying you can't say that people who find the dialogue weird is out of the normal when you're praising the dialogue for also being weird. Like, the worst thing is that someone didn't get what the vibe was supposed to be. But in particular, I'm trying to find who it was, because what blew my mind was that someone like took the screenshot of Carson's tweet, right? Okay, here we go. This is what I mean first and foremost. I'm trying to get the big one over here. All right, you got that. Perfect. So the first one was, you got to wonder if M. Night Shyamalan has ever had a conversation with a human being. 497 likes. August 1st. Then this person does the exact same one, right? Can you even come up with your own opinion? Dude, that's so fascinating to me. When this is the same screenshot at 497 that the other guy did.
You can't even come up with your own screenshot?
Take your own screenshot while the basis of your argument, this is outside of our review, it's just something I got to vent about here. How are you making fun of someone for being unoriginal when you took the exact same screenshot down to the little layer that you see right there? It was a whole hour apart. You saw someone hopping on it, you try to make something with it, and calling Carson a loser. Only, as like you said, spoiler alert, he ends up liking the movie. So,
right.
Egg on your face? Like, bro, what's going on here? But this one that started it just really got me. I've long defended Karsten from people who are being way too dramatic over some guy writing, his letterbox reviews, but I fear this is the final straw. Zach, why do you need enemies when you got fans like this? You telling me a fan didn't just go, hey, that's all right, I disagree with him. This man said he defended Karsten for years. He knows how bad people dogpile on him, and then one day he went, yeah, I'm going to change my mind. Let me be a part of it. Why do you need enemies?
Right?
This is dumb.
Really...
You couldn't just be like, damn, all right, I'm going to let him have this one. Again, spoiler alert, he liked the movie. People were making up stuff, and then it got bad.
Yeah, people just really used it as a pile-on, and it's just so silly because it's like these are movie opinions, right?
Yeah. Again, calling him whatever. Like, if you don't like Carson, that's fine. Sometimes he pisses me off too. But the idea is that, like, do you even agree with yourself? Because a lot of the stuff that came here, like we were mentioning, was this idea of a bunch of quote tweets, and I don't think Elon Musk's new Twitter page allows you to even right there, like,
sort it that way,
telling him to enjoy movies. There was a lot of quote tweets that started bringing up, like, what about Wes Anderson? What about this person? Why don't they ever get flack? You live in your world. That's like my whole pitch. None of you guys live in a real world. Wes Anderson's last movie flopped. You don't even believe with the statement you're saying. Some of y'all like Wes's last movie because you guys didn't like French Dispatch and what he did there. Like, they don't even hold up. Oh, they don't scrutinize the white guys. Yorgo's last movie flopped too. When people took Carson's thing, who you and I know, and turned it into a race thing against M. Night, bruh, I'll win. Mr. Meek. If there's no minority arguing on the behalf of M. Night, why did y'all make it a race issue against Karsten? Zach, I'm at the point now where I believe some people, if they can't find a battle to become an ally, they'll make the battle themselves just so they can be an ally at the end of it. Again, spoiler alert, Carson came out, gave this bad boy a 4.5 star. Goofy. I cannot imagine getting all this on your name from fans. I understand the people who don't like you, they're not going to like you, but like from your own fans. To just assume something and to jump to things that weren't even there. I almost find that racist in and of itself, to have jumped to the conclusion that you can't critique M. Night on something that he's doing because it would have had to have been something bigger.
Right.
Boy, that's on y'all. Too much projecting happening in this scenario. Yeah. I found it hilarious.
And just speaking from the perspective of people who like talk about film and occasionally hear from people who don't like our opinions on film, like, we are not here to validate what you thought about the movie. We are here to engage with the film and try and communicate what is it about this film that worked for us or didn't work for us or that we found worth discussing. And from there, if you want to like form your own opinion or use what we talk about to help develop your own idea, that's cool.
Just form an opinion.
We're not right, like, but we're not telling you what to think, and we don't want you to tell us what we should think either. Like, we're all our own people. These are movies. These are movies. Let's have a civil discussion.
The people who didn't like Trap do not care if you loved it.
Right.
But this time around, the people who loved Trapped had a real big issue. If you did not understand the nuance. Bro, you're praising the guy for saying he was just chilling with it. I think he was just chilling with it. I don't think he needs you to defend him like that. But it was very interesting hearing people go, you just got to turn off your brain with this one. and then forgot to delete the reviews last week about Deadpool and turning off your brain being a bad thing. I don't know how it goes there. Hey, that's the biggest trap of them all, huh? Discussing movies online. Never know what you're gonna get there, but
unfortunately,
you're chasing clown. I guess that's the trap, the biggest trap of them all. The traps we made along the way.